Hello, it's Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Current blog post we want to share with you, of course, for the latest in social media and technology. We're doing a phone versus comparison here, and of course, all the major phone companies send us phones, so we're going to be reviewing them and getting them compared here. The latest that's out is the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 that you see here on your left. This is from AT&T at AT&T.com. On the right-hand side, we have the Verizon. You can see at VerizonWireless.com. That's iPhone 4S. This is Sam, iPhone 4S. We're going to compare these two very popular devices, each within their own right, against each other and give you an idea of what goes on. We'll show you some benchmarking stats, and then in the end, we'll share with you the camera and how well the camera worked. So, let's take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. Now, this is a very big size screen. It's got its own stylus. It's a very unique product. The dimensions are in height, it's 5.95 in height, 3.17 in width, and 0.37 inches thick. On the iPhone 4S, what we're looking at is a device that is 4.54 inches in height, 2.31 in width, and 0.37 in thickness. On the Galaxy Note 2, we're looking at a weight of 6.46 ounces, and an iPhone 4S, a weight of 4.94 ounces. On the display for the Note 2, we're looking at a Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen, 17.7 million colors, 720 by 1280 pixels, and a 5.5-inch screen with 267 ppi pixel density. Has Corning Gorilla Glass 2 on it. On the iPhone 4S, we're looking at a 3.5-inch display screen. Resolution is 640 by 960. It's got a 330 ppi screen, Retina display as they call it. It's IPS LCD, and it's got 16.7 million colors, also in a capacitive multi-touch screen. On the Galaxy Note, for memory, we're looking for you have an expandable card slot of a micro SD up to 64 gigabytes. You also can get 16, 32, or 64 gigabyte storage models with 2 gigabytes of RAM. On the iPhone 4S, you're looking at where you can get 16, 32, and 64 memory models. There's no expandable memory other than buying a more expensive phone, which is the difference there. Let's take a look at the OS. The OS on the Samsung Galaxy Note is a Jelly Bean. It's version 4.1.1. It's got an Exynos, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, 4412 quad-core chipset on it. Quad-core 1.6 gigahertz Cortex A9. It's very, very, very fast, as you'll see in our benchmarking tests. On the Apple iPhone 4S, we have the A5 chip. It's a dual-core 800 megahertz ARM Cortex A9. It's got a 512 megabyte RAM and 16 gigabytes of built-in storage. Very bit of difference there between the two different devices. The battery on the Galaxy Note 2 is 3100 milliamp hours battery. It's a very, very huge battery. And the battery on the iPhone 4S is I believe it's 1440 or 1400 that we have on the iPhone 4S. I'm not sure about that exactly. You can Google it for double checking stats. For some reason, those stats weren't handed to me. Galaxy Note 2, we're looking at a camera of 8 megapixels on the back and 1080p 30 frames per second. On the front, it has a whopping 1.9 megapixel camera. On the iPhone 4S, we're looking at a camera on the back of 8 megapixels. On the front, 0.3 megapixel VGA camera. On the back, of course, you can do 1080p HD at 30 frames per second. Okay, so taking a look at the build of both devices, at the top we have a small speaker for your phone calls. We have some sensors. We have your front-facing camera here on the Note 2. We have a home button in and of itself, and then we have a capacitive touchscreen for both the menu and the back button. For the iPhone 4S, we have a front-facing camera. We have a small speaker here for making calls. I believe there's a sensor in there somewhere, and we have a home button. Taking a look down the back of both devices, let's go ahead and pull open the back of them. And as you can see here, we've got a plastic back that's on the Note 2, and we have a camera eye that's here. We have your lamp flash there. That's pretty much it, a small speaker right down here. On the iPhone 4S, we have a camera eye, a lamp flash, and that's pretty much it. It has a glass back to it, non-removable. The one thing you do have with the Galaxy Note that you don't have with the iPhone 4S is, of course, the ability to have the Stylus Pen. And the Stylus Pen even has its own little kind of mouse clicker thing that you can click on. When you activate it, you can take and do drawings, of course, and all sorts of stuff on it. Pretty fun and interesting in nature. And you can even see that, well, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but what will happen is on the pad, you can actually see, I'm not sure if you'll see it from an angle there, but you can actually see there's a little circle on the screen that indicates where the device is on the thing. What's really neat too is with the new Note 2, you can take and indicate that if you walk away from the stylus for a couple feet, it will give you an alarm to let you know you've left the stylus behind, so it makes it harder to lose. Very big difference between the two devices. And of course, the Galaxy Note 2, the back comes off. So here we have the back. You can see we've got an insert for the SD card expansion and the SIM card, and of course a removable battery pack if you wanted to take and remove the battery and flip out new ones to keep yourself going. One of the great things about the battery, though, in this Galaxy Note 2 is it's 3,300 milliamp hours, so that's pretty freaking huge. Let's take a look at the right side of the Note 2. You've got a power button right there. Across the top, we have a microphone hole right here, and we have an earphone jack. Across the left-hand side, we've got your rocker volume up and down button. And across the bottom, we have your USB connector, micro USB connector, I should say. And then we also have your microphone hole and then the slot for the stylus. So that's what we have going down that way. And taking a look at the Apple, down the one side, we have the SIM card slot. Across the top, we have the power button. We have the earphone jack. On the left-hand side, we have the mute switch, and we have volume up and down buttons specifically. And then on the bottom, we have your 30-pin connector for syncing and charging, and then also your speakers. So that's the build on both the devices. Okay, so let's take a look at both these devices. On the Android, we have Jelly Bean version 4.1.1. On the Apple, we have the Apple iOS version 6.0 that's on there. Now, one of the main differences between these devices is the 4S can only do 3G. It cannot do a 4G, where the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 is a true 4G LTE phone. So that's a major difference between the two. Now with the Note 2, there's a lot of different things you can do with the menus. Of course, many people like that about the Android product, where it's customizable. You can see you have drop-down notes, and you can also adjust different things on the fly, which is really cool. Where with the menus on the Apple, you have to go through a few different things. You can also create different apps, widgets, folders, pages, different wallpapers you can take and do with the Android. Many people like that also. With the Samsung Galaxy Note, it has what's called a Finite Swipe, where it completely circles around. With the Apple, you just pretty much have a left to right swipe. You can press the home key on either device to get it back to where it was. Not much customizable on the Apple. You can create folders if you like, just like you can on the Samsung Galaxy Note 2, but you can see here the drop-down call list for the notifications and everything that you might take and have. Pretty much similar on the drop-down, but I think you have a lot more features with the Samsung Note 2. Many people like the Android for that feature to be able to customize their stuff and what goes on. Let's do this. Let's take a look at the speed tests we did on both devices. And we want to take a look at what we have backed up in the results column. We, of course, now have the Wi-Fi on, where earlier we had the Wi-Fi off. So this The biggest difference you're going to see here in the speed test, of course, is the iPhone 4S is a 3G phone, so it's only going to anemic sort of speeds compared to this speed test that's done on the Note 2. And, so we're looking at Verizon scores here for their service, and then we're looking at AT&T for their scores here for 4G, of course. So you can see quite a big difference. This is one of the benefits originally when there was only a 3G iPhone phone and the Androids were coming out 4G. So you can see that there. Okay, so here we have the Geek Bench 2 score. You can see a huge difference. This is, of course, a quad-core processor that's on the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. 2012 is the score we're getting on it. 619 for the iPhone 4S, and it is an older phone. Integer score 1764 against 540. Floating point score 2990 against 727. Memory score 1369 against 729. Stream score 748 against 299. Okay, so let's take a look at the Android camera that's on the Note 2. It's got a very powerful, awesome camera on it. It's great. It really rock and rolls. I think the only thing that rivals it is the iPhone 5 and the 4S. So you can see here you've got several different menu items where you've got your front-facing camera switch, you've got your flash switch, and of course this would change to a lamp if you're in video mode. You've got different shooting modes you can take and do. One of the cool things is the burst shot that comes with the device where you can shoot off a whole mess of shots and everything else. You've got effects that you can take and preload onto the screen to be able to see what's going on. You can edit the shortcuts, of course, that are over here. Do burst shots, self-portrait, different effects, exposure values. You've got total control. Different scene modes that you might have that you can take and do here. Portrait, landscape, sports, indoor, sunset, dawn. They have quite a bit with the Samsungs. Timers, the resolution, white balance, ISO, metering, all sorts of different stuff, as you can see here, that you can take and do. They probably have one of the most extensive lists of different settings and tweaks that you can take and do of any Android phone that's out there. And of course, once you switch to video mode, you've got much the same. You can set limits for MMS. Now, the one thing that's really cool about this one is it will do slow motion and fast motion, which is really, really cool. Basically, it will film in fast motion or slow motion, and what's nice is you don't have to have an app to take and slow it down like you would with other devices. So that's really fun and interesting, and of course you've got different effects you can take and put in here along the way. So we'll show you some of this. Now, the one great thing about the device is it shoots very well in night functions. It's got an excellent lamp and an excellent flash. This is a completely dark room. The flash was able to light up the room and also be able to secure a in-focus shot. Here is another shot where it's completely dark, I'm not even kidding you, and you can see how well it lit up this whole hallway and how well it shot down the corridor. It's got a great flash to it. Here's us using the lamp and the video mode, and of course the flash is a lot more powerful, as you can see within the colors. So there's that there, but you can see it does shoot pretty far down the hallway, so that's good. Let's take a look at some video here that we took and did. Now this is the fast motion video. That's kind of funny to watch. You can see the dogs moving really fast. I believe this might be a slow motion video where the dogs are going to be moving really slow. And I'm slowly back away. There you go. You can see the slow motion. It's pretty darn cool. I like it. It's pretty fun. So we had fun doing that with my dogs. You can see here it takes really good pictures. These are outside in the daylight pictures. And you can see how well the blues, greens, everything comes out and pops really well. We've got the sun setting, etc., etc. We're even going to, I think, come up here tight. You can see the lines in really good detail, even in close-up shots that come through. You can see the pictures, some of the pictures we had here. There's a sunset, so we're not going to get much of a good picture setting there because of the blast of the sun going down. But you can see here the colors come out just wonderful on the device. Now, this is pretty interesting. We got close up to some wood grain to see how well it picked up wood grain on a close-up. Many of these cameras, you need to have macro lenses, but they're getting better at shooting almost in a macro phase, and this is almost within, I think, an inch or half an inch of the wood, and it's shooting really well. So you can see that here with this device, or with this the Note 2, but it shot really good with the wood grain. We were really surprised at how well it did what it did. Anyway, love the camera. It rock and rolls. It's a great compliment to a great device. Okay, so let's take a look at the camera on the iPhone 4S. Now, the one thing aspect about it is it's not as customizable as the Android system. You don't have as many features, bells and whistles as you saw earlier that you can take and do. Options-wise, you can choose between a grid and HDR shooting. You can also choose between auto on and off for your flash and your lamp. You can choose between a front-facing camera and a back-facing camera. Very simple here. Of course, you got to switch to both video and taking and doing a photograph. You got your photograph button here to take and make that happen, and that's pretty much it. There's an edit button I'll show you here in a second once you go into photo mode, but it doesn't have like the ISO and exposure and all those sort of different things that it comes with on the Android. Now, here's a picture of my floor. You can see it here. It comes out very well on the Apple iPhone. It is a little bit brighter in its photo than what my actual floor looks like, but it comes out in spectacular detail and looks really good. Here's a low light situation where we're taking a picture with the low lamp. We're taking a flash photo, if you will. And you can see here the colors pop pretty well, and they come out pretty fine from what we can see. Never had too much problem with low light situations. It handles it very well. Here's video of a low light situation that we're in. It takes fairly good pictures in low light. You can see here some of the results we're getting in a dark situation where we're using the lamp to take and light everything up. So you can see a video of a low lamp situation here. Here's another. Now let's take a look at the camera. You can see here the video camera for the iPhone 4S. It takes pictures a little bit brighter than the normal color of my floor that you can see here, but you can get a good idea of it. Okay, so you get a good idea of the camera, how it works. Now when you do have a photo and you want to make it look better, you can go into edit mode on here, and you can take and enhance it with some color. You can also eliminate red eye. You can crop it if you so choose, and you can also rotate the photo if you didn't shoot it in the right format of landscape or portrait. So you have those abilities to do that. You also have the ability to take and send it to Apple TV if you want to take and preview your photos on your Apple TV, which is one element you can't do with Android. But there is definitely a lot less customization for the photography element of the iPhone. Besides that, it does take really good photographs. In fact, probably the best I've seen out of all the Android series. Okay, so all in all, both devices were good devices. The Samsung Galaxy Note 2 is definitely the latest and coolest and greatest and all that good stuff. You can find it at AT&T.com. That's AT&T.com. Tell them Chris Voss sent you. For the iPhone 4S, it's definitely way past its prime and time, but you can find it at VerizonWireless.com. And if not that, the iPhone 5 and all the other cool stuff they have. They even have at Verizon the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. So be sure to check out both phones and check out all our comparison videos and reviews. Be sure to tell them Chris Voss sent you. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. And see you next time on our phone review channel.